Hello everyone, Andrew with St. Cloud Shields here. What we're going to go over today is going to be a little bit of mapping. Now mapping is essential for most anglers, whether you're ice fishing, summer fishing, or just doing a little scouting in the off season when you have time. What a lot of guys are looking for is certain structure, hazards, maybe it's vegetation, maybe it's a depth that you want to find in an area that you haven't been able to find it in the past. So with proper mapping and contours, you're able to utilize that information and get you on the spot faster. So what we're going to go over today is Humminbird. We're going to use their Lake Master chip. This one's going to be a Minnesota chip. We're going to be zooming in on Mille Lacs Lake in Minnesota here just to give a little bit of reality with good structure versus a lake that's more so a bowl. So what we're going to go over is shallow water highlight, we're going to go over a depth highlight, and then we're going to go over what you're looking for and how to try and read it and navigate through it, and some of the minor functions on a Helix unit so that you can go out there and utilize your unit to better understand what you're looking at and where you want to go. So we'll start off by just some of the main functions. So we're going to have a couple different buttons. We're going to have an exit and a view. That's going to be like a Rolodex scrolling through all your options. So we're already on our map screen. We're going to see the whole entire map here. We can zoom in, we can zoom out, and we can make it so that we can actually see some depth numbers there. What I like to do when I first go out in the boat is I like to set my screen to a certain setting. I want my shallow water highlight at 5 feet or less, and I want my depth highlight at whatever given depth I want to fish. If it's going to be walleye fishing in 15 feet, typically I'll set that 15-foot mark, and then I'll go a plus or minus a little bit so that I have a little bit of leeway so that I can try and just keep the boat in a certain area versus a very narrow path. So what we'll start with first is going to be the shallow water highlight. The shallow water highlight, you can be utilized by clicking the menu button 2 times, and you'll go into your setup window here, and then ideally what you want to be in is custom mode. Custom mode is going to unlock a whole bunch of different options as far as screens and as far as customization with your depths. So make sure you're in custom mode. Once we're in custom mode, we'll go all the way up to the top, and then we'll go over to the Humminbird logo. That Humminbird logo is going to be your HB charts. It's going to be your main menu for all of your map settings that you want to adjust or customize. So once we're in there, we'll go down to shallow water highlight. We'll make sure it's turned on, and then we'll go to our highlight depth. So just by clicking the arrow key up, we can click it up, and you can see on the right side there where it's going to show my depth. So if I have it highlighted at 5 feet, it's going to highlight everything 5 feet or less. So now if I'm driving the boat, or if I'm having an issue with a line and I need someone else to drive the boat for me, I can physically just tell them stay out of the red, and I won't have to worry about hitting too many rocks or structure that come out on maybe like a peninsula or something like that. The other feature that I like to utilize is going to be your highlight. So what I use there is now going to be a green highlight. That green highlight is going to be the depth I want to fish in. So like I said before, if I'm fishing in 15 feet of water, I'm going to highlight this, and I'm going to go minimum, let's say 12 feet, and I'll set my maximum to, let's sit at 20 feet. So now basically what I have done is I've highlighted 5 feet or less in red, and I've highlighted 12 feet to 20 feet in green. So that gives me enough of a path that I can try and narrow in on where those fish are and where they're going to be sitting all over the map. So now as I click exit and I zoom out, you can see all over the map, everywhere that it's shallow is going to be red. Everywhere that's my target depth that I know that fish are in, whether it's a tip from a buddy or just previous experience, I know I can basically negate everything else on that screen that's not colored, and I can only focus in on all of that green water right there. So you can isolate points easier. Ideally what you want to do is you want to find structure that's going to hold fish. If you're walleye fishing or bass fishing on Mille Lacs, bass are going to be on rocks, weeds, all those different structure. So now if I can isolate a smaller area with less pressure, I can get away from the crowd, and now I can sit there and I can hone in on certain fish that haven't been pressured. Those fish are going to be more apt to take my lure, see my presentation, and hopefully, in theory, I'll have a better day on the water. So in using these tips, you can drive safer in the boat and have a better experience on the water. there's one more screen that I like to utilize as well. On LakeMaster, there's going to be a contour offset or a water level offset. If you go back in your menu button 2 times, you go to that same screen and you go all the way down, you're going to see water level offset. What that means is that on a given day, a given year, whether it's a drought or a really rainy year, you can now influx or decrease your contours on your mapping so that you're accurate. Does me no good to highlight 5 feet or less for danger if it's not 5 feet. So what I can do now is I can go out and I can park my boat on a very evident contour, and now I can see, okay, my map says 19 feet, but I'm really in 21 feet. I can now increase that number 2 feet. So now all my contours are accurate. So now as I'm highlighting depth or protecting my boat from certain depths, it's accurate to each day. Now the next time I go out there might be a month later, it could be shallower. I can now decrease that number back to a negative number or back to 0 if it's a normal year. I want you guys to be safe on the water, but I want you to have fun on the water. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask me or any SCHEELS expert out on the water or in the store, and we'll be happy to help you out. Feel free to stop in at your local SCHEELS store or find us online at scheels.com.